Now that you've purchased and installed FL Studio, it's time to learn the key parts of the interface you'll use every time you make music. In this video, I won't be covering every single feature. Instead, I'll show you the most important sections you need to know so you can confidently start creating worship demos and songs for your worship team. If you're enjoying the series so far, feel free to leave a like and subscribe to the channel as I work towards 1,000 subscribers before the year ends. Now, let's get started. In FL Studio, you have 5 major windows that you will be using for the most part when creating music. To open those windows, you use these buttons over here. Or if you like, you can also use shortcuts, which in this case, if you look over here, whenever you hover over a button, it will give you the exact shortcut combination for you to open that tab. I like using the buttons on the screen. I'm not a shortcut person, so if you want to use shortcuts or just using the buttons, that's up to you. So the first one is F5, F7, F6, F9, Alt plus F8, and so on. So the first window that you will be using the most is your playlist. This is where you will be placing all your patterns. This is where you will be arranging your song from your verses, your choruses, your breakdowns. This is where you will be forming your music ideas. Next is the playlist. This is where you will write your music. Whether you'll be using your mouse only to click in some notes to make your chords, or you'll be using a MIDI keyboard, this is where your MIDI information will be placed and where you can actually see the different notes to write your melodies. FL Studio has one of the best piano rolls because there's so many functions for you to edit your MIDI notes, for you to stretch, to quantize, to minimize, to even control your velocity, which makes your sound quieter or louder. Up next is your channel rack. Your channel rack is where you would load your instruments. So if you want to use a piano sound, that's where you would click the plus icon. And here is where you store all your plugins. So in this case, this is a fresh install of FL Studio. I don't have any external plugins that I like to use. So in this case, I'll just select FL keys. So now that we know what the playlist does, what the piano roll does, and now we're looking at the channel rack, I activated a plugin, which in this case is the FL keys, and it sounds like this. So for you to use those 3 tabs that we've covered so far, so what you would do is right click on FL keys, piano roll. So now you're opening a piano roll dedicated specifically to FL keys. So now you can hear the sound. So then now you have a pattern. So then now, since you are on pattern 1, you can paste it on your playlist. Now you might ask, okay, so I have this first chord. I want to add a new instrument. So then that's when you go again to your channel rack and you create a new pattern. This is very important. You create a new pattern, you name it whatever you want. Let's call this bass. Now on your channel rack again, you can open another plugin, whichever plugin you want to use. I know that Citrus has a lot of bass sounds, but I won't make any right now. I'll just go to default. And we are in the key of G. So remember we created our own bass pattern here. So you can paste it in the playlist beforehand if you like. Go into your piano roll and then put your bass. So now that's your bass. And then they're playing together. Simple stuff. Next is your mixer. So now you created your song. So let's make something a little bit more interesting. Okay, so now we have our song, right? We have our chords and we have our bass. So now you want to start mixing. So that's when the mixer comes in. So for you to send your instruments to the mixer, you can go to your channel rack and you right click the instrument that you want to send to the mixer and you right click, assign to new instrument track. And there you go. It's in the mixer. You can also see that whenever you send things to the mixer, you also get a corresponding track. So if you like, you can drag your MIDI pattern to the corresponding track just to stay organized. And you can auto name stuff, but that's for another video. And you can do the same for the bass. Right click, assign to new instrument track. There you go. So now you have your chords and your bass routed to the mixer, and that's where you can solo, you can pan, you can route to different tracks as well. And of course, you can select effects. In this case, I'll load in a parametric EQ. And because I'm making a song, the best thing you can do for your things that are not the kick and the bass, you just add a high pass filter on it to create space for the bass. So now you have your bass sitting under your chords just a little bit better. Then next, after the mixer, we have your browser. Normally your browser will be docked to the left, but I like to have it floating around. So if it looks different, so if yours look different, don't worry. I just like to have my hands floating around. Here you'll find FL Studio's default sample packs. You have your drums, you have flex packs, you have different real instruments, bass guitars, keyboards, orchestral sounds. You can also find your plugins over here. So, in your generators, which are plugins that make sound, you can find your different drum plugins over here, your MIDI, miscellaneous stuff. And this just allows you to drag and drop things into your playlist. So then now you have the Boo bass also in your channel rack and in your mixer. So that's another way of dragging in plugins to your playlist and for it to also be sent to your mixer. There's also different things where you can buy sample packs straight out of ImageLine, which is the creator of FL Studio. Different sounds. Here you'll find the different sample packs for the different plugins that FL Studio provides: Flex, FEC, Harmor. So to summarize again, what you would do is let's open an empty project to start over. So the most important windows in FL Studio are your playlist. This is where you will structure your songs from the verse, the chorus, the different layers that you want to do. This is where you will do all of that. Next is your piano roll. Piano roll is where you will write the individual notes per instrument. For example, if you have a piano sound, this is where you will write the different MIDI notes and melodies and chords for that track. Next, we have the channel rack. The channel rack is where you will select your different instruments and plugins that you like to use so that you can then place them into your playlist. And of course, your mixer. Your mixer is where you'll do most of your gain staging, your mixing, and your mastering. And that is it. Those are the most important parts of the FL Studio interface that you need to know before you can start making worship demos and songs for your worship team. The more familiar you become with these sections, the easier everything else becomes in FL Studio. If you're still not sure which version of FL Studio is right for you, be sure to watch the video on your screen. It'll help you choose the version that best fits your needs. And if you're ready to get FL Studio and would like to support a small channel like mine, you can use my affiliate link down in the description. It doesn't cost you anything extra. and I earn a small commission that helps me continue creating free tutorials like these. In the next video, I'll show you how to record your microphone, guitar, bass, or keyboard into FL Studio so you can start creating your own worship demos and songs. Thanks so much for watching, God bless, and I'll see you in the next one.